Hey, Nasu here. Today I'm going to start a new what if. I was supposed to start it the 8th, but I had problems with my internet. I was literally unable to do anything. So, um, it's going to be what if Deku had magic. And it's going to be way different from anything like, let's say, my um, Demon Fairy Deku or my Dragon Slayer Deku. This one is going to be, well, pretty special in itself. Firstly, those are basically some of the stuff he's going to be able to do. His quirk, well, well, when he finally comes back, is elemental control, allowing him to control fire, water, earth, light, poison, shadow, and dark. Body augmentation increasing and decreasing for himself or others. Speed, strength, stamina, and defense. Body, body modification, he can do his entire body, but that's only for his body. He will also have body mutations, red and purple dragon scales. He'll have gills and horns. He will have a healing that's pretty good, but the reason it's pretty good is because it's magic healing, where he can literally put certain amount of magic in it and heal or himself or others. His blood type is O negative, and basically his mentality is he wants to help everyone, but if someone insults him, his friend, family, or anyone he's close to, he will not um, be very kind to you. Or he will not have pity on you and probably kill you if you're actually against him. His hair his hair color are red and green. His height is 5'9", and what is not told about him, well, basically that's what they have, let's say, at UA about him. Those are the stuff. Undisclosed is basically stuff that they don't know about him. Deku has portals that allows him to move between worlds or just between the location in the world he is in. Um, he has super strength from a massive amount of training, and has the second highest intelligence in the world if we do not count intelligence quirk. The highest one will be explained as well, but yeah, so hope this works. But so the way it happens in this one is a bit different than in the original. Actually, massively different. Deku is born just like in the original. Um, his four first years of life are basically identical until the quirk doctor appointments. After being told that he is quirkless, this Enko decided that she didn't want him. Not for any reason of shame or stuff like that, but literally because she didn't want to keep him around her. Because this world has, well, not Enko, but this world in itself is a lot more, well, like Bakugo was. They insult and talk down to people without quirk, pretty easily. But not just children, literally everyone. So, um, Deku not having a quirk, she doesn't want to stay with him, well, him to stay with her, by fear of basically having a part of the bullying done to her instead because, hi, you made a kid without a quirk. So at age 4, um, Deku basically gets thrown out, kind of. Well, not really thrown out, but given to adoption. Which he stays there for about a year before basically deciding that he wanted to run away. Because literally he saw many, many kids just get taken and then um, just going. Um, and those that didn't have quirks, like him, were basically bullied all the way until they were basically deciding to just run away, like he's doing right now. So Deku's 5. He ran away from where he was, and for about a month he was kind of living on the street, hoping, well, to or find a way for him to be okay, or to find a place where he could stay, get food, and stuff like that. Every day he's basically trying to stay away from people because he is quirkless. Well, nobody really kind of looks at him well when they know he. For those who does know, so like someone asks, "What's your quirk?" It's kind of hard for him to say that he doesn't have one. So Deku basically was just running away, and for every day and everything, he was basically trying to find a way to stay, well, a place to stay, while trying to make sure that nobody is able to bully him because he doesn't want to get hurt or he doesn't want to get bullied. Until one night, when he's around 5 year and a half, pretty far from when he found out he was quirkless, but still, Deku was trying to basically keep warm during the night until he saw a group of people go in an alleyway and then a bright light. Some of them seemed to be kids, so he thought maybe I can follow them and went to check. What he saw was the kids and the two adults basically going through a portal, and he decided to follow them, thinking that it was just a quirk and that if anything happens, they're probably just going to throw him out. When he enters, it's completely different place. And what's happening right there is actually that those portals, well, the portal that he saw was actually, well, a portal to another dimension. This dimension has magic in it and can actually give people magic powers. So, um, Izuku basically looks around for a bit and sees that the way the place looks is clouds all around with kind of islands on top of them, Peoples are walking on the clouds without problem, so he's thinking that it's just the ground, which it is. And see that people are basically flying. Some of them are using different types of fire elements. Some are fire or elements like that, because there is a lot. Like some people are using earth, and we see some using electricity. Then we see some who are basically lifting stuff that even for some heroes that would be impossible practically. Um, Deku basically looks around and sees also people who are able to modify their body shapes or people with mutations. So he's thinking, okay, emitter quirks, transformation quirks, mutation quirks, and basically thinking that people here have quirk and it's just like the quirk of someone making this place. Until someone basically sees him looking around and she comes down. She asks him who he is, which he basically looks shocked a bit because the person, well, the woman in front of him is actually around 8 to 9 foot tall. Well, 8.5, 9 foot tall, which is huge. And he's basically just thinking, oh no, I'm going to be reprimanded or stuff like that because, well, he shouldn't be there. He basically explains that he was walking and he basically saw this weird portal with people going in and he just kind of followed. And she asked him when that was, which he said around 5 minutes ago. She used a type of, well, she basically had a crystal ball and she basically checked what dimension people came from about 5 minutes ago, and she saw a dimension, well, the dimension of My Hero Academia. The true name of the dimension is dimension 161, but still, basically, she just asked him, oh, so you come from the dimension with quirks, right? What's yours? Which he basically says, I don't have one. And then just kind of thinks a bit, wait, the dimension with quirks? Which she basically says, oh, yeah, I guess I should explain. You see, we have. Well, what's happening here is that this is not the same dimension as the one you came from. The universe isn't a single part, there's many of them. You come from one where that we call dimension 161. And your place basically has quirks, right? Powers that are almost, well, supernatural. Here we have, it is a dimension called Dimension 1. This dimension has many powers, but mostly thanks to magic. If you want, you can train with us, unless you have someone to go back to. Which Deku basically says that no, he doesn't have anywhere to go, and that he's homeless, and she tells him that it's alright. If you want, you can stay here. Which she basically asks him if he wants power and to train, And he says that, yeah, he would like it. He wanted to become a hero, but because his world basically almost torture people who doesn't have quirks, it was practically impossible for him. Which he says, if you want, you can become a hero later. If you can just train here, and once you're ready, you can go back. Actually, you might be able to go back there and come back here anytime you want. So, what would you say? Do you want to stay here? Which Deku accepts for, well, obvious reasons. He wants to be a hero, and he just gets told that he can have powers. In this one, Deku's not getting one for all. He's going to be powerful enough as is. So, basically, he asks how he's going to get powers. And she tells him that in this place there is a special fountain. The water from this fountain can actually give people powers. And depending on what you get, you will be more powerful. Deku gets intrigued by this and decides that he really wants to try it. And then she tells him that when drinking from the fountain, you can get many powers, but only a certain amount of them. Normally, people get from 3 to 4 powers. Well, no, from 1 to 4 powers. And that's considered pretty rare. Some people get more. Which, if you remember from the start of the video, Deku has many things that he's going to get. Not just 4. Because each element, each body augmentation, each body modification, hair, eyes, skin, body shape, all of those are different. Just like speed, strength, stamina, defense are 4 different things, so that's already 8, plus the 7 elements, plus the healing. He has a huge amount of power. 16 power to be more precise. Then you add the body modifications, well, the mutations, which are dragon scales, gills, and the wait, what was it? Be right back. Okay, yeah, horns. So Deku basically ask what the powers are, which she explains. Sorry, again. Yeah, sorry. So she basically tells him that you can get different body, well, that there is many elements that you can get, and basically list them all. I'm not going to do it because, well, the only people that we will know what they have is basically Deku, and a friend of his that will come to UA and replace Mineta, that will only have 5 elements instead. So, not 5 elements, but 5 quirks. But yeah, I'm going to explain that in the next part. Right now I'm explaining Deku. So, she explains that there is different elements, that there is different body augmentation, different body modifications, then that there is healing, so healing, and there is a undead type of magic, which basically it's life, death. Life is basically you can heal. With enough strength, you can well, practically revive someone fully. What do I mean practically revive fully? If someone died like less than 5 minutes ago, you would be able to revive them. If it's been more than 5 minutes, even if you were to be able to revive them, after 5 minutes, they basically start losing stuff. And most of the time, the moment 5 minutes hits, if you revive them, the body is alive, but the mind isn't there anymore. So yeah, but basically, I'm mostly going to explain the ones that Deku will be using. We will meet two villains with magic, but I'm going to explain how it actually works. The dimension itself is alive, and if so, if someone is evil true and true, they won't be able to enter. You can have been bad in the past and then become good again and then pass, but you have to do you have to basically rebalance the scale. If the scale is perfectly still, so both evil and good equally, you would be able to enter. But if the scale is lightly tipping down on the evil side, no matter how much it is, you will actually um, not be able to enter. That doesn't mean that if you become evil after drinking the water from the fountain, you lose your quirk, well, your magic. You actually keep that. You're just unable to enter the dimension again. So let's say someone like One for All for One. No matter how much good he would try to do, by this point, he would probably have big trouble actually getting to enter. It would probably take him years of trying to do good to actually do it, and even then, probably will never work, because whatever he does actually goes straight to him trying to get more powers, just to be able to control the earth. So, he wouldn't be able to. But let's say someone like, let's just take any of the villains. Um, let's say Toga. Yes, she is evil and has multiple things that are quote unquote bad. If she actually tried to do good now, she might be able to be redeemed. Simply because she's not almost 100 years old compared to All for One, and she actually only likes to do that because she likes blood and killing, but mostly blood, as well as because of her quirk, basically looking evil. She basically had to become evil over time. But if she decided that she wanted to do good, she would be able to actually um, become a good person after a while and be able to enter. Problem is, even if you start doing good over time, if at some point, just because of anything, your your body, well, mentality goes back to evil, just like I said, you won't be able to enter again. But you will actually be able to keep your powers. The only downside to this is that some people might have more problems actually keeping it safe because everyone that's basically evil in itself and that becomes good again does have the more capacity to become evil again. Not to say they're going to do it, but some have the capacity to. So they basically have they can get the power because well they became good, but they can go back to evil. Good thing is, not all of them happens, only some will happen in the what if, as well as something that I'm going to do later, which is going to be pretty, how can I say, big. So yeah, basically, after explaining to Deku how everything works here, um, she tells him that if he wants power, he just has to drink. No matter how much he drinks, he's going to get the same amount of of magic as he should have. It all depends on your, well, on your soul, basically. Not on how pure you are, not on stuff like that. It literally depends on what your aptitudes were at birth when it comes to magic. So, Deku had a lot. They couldn't know that, so she was surprised herself when Deku actually got all of those. A lot of people were surprised as well. Um, for the mutations that happens after drinking the water, the way it happens is over time, extremely slowly. Yeah, no joke. It happens over around a week or so. Your body basically modifies itself pretty fast, and you feel it. Like, for the time of change, there's literally no way for you to do anything because, well, as long as you're changing, your body hurts a lot. And Deku can feel it for, well, obvious reasons. He basically has gills growing, scales on multiple part of his body. Um, just like many lizards, his sexual parts are covered and are inside of him while um, not needing them. That's just for something fun that's going to happen later in the what if. Um, but yeah. So basically, after the full modification period, um, well, they tell him that he can start training now to be able to control the full aspect of his power, or to have control over them and then train to increase his strength, or if he wants to increase his intelligence about his world and other worlds, but to remember not to mix two different worlds because it could be bad. So Deku basically wants all three, so he goes for all three, and I'm not going to do the full training period because hell, that would probably take over 4 episodes, and I don't want that. But yeah, Deku gains a huge amount of strength basically over the 9.5 years, a little more, but still, that he passed in this dimension. He trains every different quirk he has, every type of magic he has, to the point of, well, in terms of that type of magic, he is classed as, second best for some of them, with the only people being um, stronger than that are those that have like hundreds of years of experience. Because the fountain can also give you a longer lifespan, which Deku basically got augmented by a good amount. Basically, he would be able to live up to 140 years, but some people are able to live up to 300 years, and with the oldest person being that lived to about 360, and that was basically with him constantly healing himself from some damage. Like, he was basically forcing himself to stay alive longer, and even that was basically not helping after a while. So, Deku basically has a weaker version of that, but still could live pretty freaking long. So, Deku in the end has full control of those. He could literally modify his body to be that someone totally different from him, and even change sex, but that's a bit harder to do for literally everyone. So him being able to do it is pretty good. In terms of intelligence, like I said, he is classed in the My Hero Academia world second most intelligent person, if we do not count the quirk. And just to say that he has the capacity to be close to the strongest, the most intelligent person after only that amount of time is pretty impressive. Basically, the way that happened is that Deku himself basically was able to augment his intelligence over time to a good point, simply because he was always or training or studying. So he was basically classed as second highest intelligence. In all of the powers he control, um, for two of them, he's basically classed as second. For the others, he's third, fourth, fifth, or something like that. But everyone's still pretty impressed. Well, third, fourth, fifth, not for the true power he has, but for the control of it. Because many people are above him in power. But he's able to control the fire, let's say, of other people who have more power than him. Which the control is the aspect that is mostly impressive. Because the more control you have over it, the less magic you use controlling it. He still uses a huge amount, but he is able to control the elements of other people that have less control than him over them, even if they are stronger than him. Intelligence, he is truly the second most intelligent person, if we do not count quirks. And for the aspect of him that is his strength and physical powers, he trained a huge amount physically, and by huge, I truly mean huge. Um, Physically, in this one, his strength, thanks to magic training as well, increasing that, as well as the fountain also increasing his physical capacity minimally. He was pretty much one, if not the physically strongest kid of 15 years in this world. Well, in the world he is in, which is Dimension 1. It's actually the name they give it themselves. Basically, it's people who discovered it named it Dimension 1. And then every dimension they discovered, basically they gave the next number. So Deku's dimension is the 1616th dimension that they discovered. Other dimensions will come in this, but yeah, so physically, I would say he would be able to bench press a tank easily. Basically, place him on the same amount of strength as Spider-Man. Okay, just because he could actually do that if I remember correctly. But yeah, Deku could probably bench press a tank with sweating minimally. Like, minimal effort and still being able to do that. So, pretty freaking strong. Um, if someone was able to truly do that in real life, uh, they would be pretty freaking strong, because a tank weighs many, and I really mean many tons. So, um, basically, all of that is thanks to training that he did, not only physical training, but also with magic. Basically, his bodily enhancement in terms of strength, he basically increased his strength many times using that, and then started training with that strength, and his body basically augmented to have the amount of strength to do that over time, with a lot less damage to his body, and even with damage, he can just heal himself. So he was basically using his magic to do a lot of training in minimal time. So he was basically just training himself to be one of the best in a way that made him, well, close to the best. In a fight against All Might, in terms of physical strength, All Might would demolish Deku thanks to, well, not in terms of physical strength, but thanks to his punch, if they were only using strength. If they had full access, Deku would demolish All Might. Because with all of the training he did, as well, he went for like... Well, he went into a special dimension, which was called Dimension 162. So yeah, 162nd dimension discovered. Which, in this one, time basically goes around 4 or 5,000 times faster. So it can go pretty fast. In this dimension, those that have the special magic to go there can also, well, the portal magic actually can do that, can send you there, but if you are skilled enough with, because there are two types of magic that you automatically get. Well, three types. But yeah, basically the capacity to create magic in your own body, the capacity to open portals, which they also don't count, and three, the capacity to make a bubble of magic around you that can basically protect you from certain things. Like, if you go in that dimension and that you use one of those bubbles, which can only be of like from 1 to 3 meters in diameter only, so pretty small space, you basically don't age while you're in there, because basically your body time stays to the one of the last dimension you were in. So you basically age like in the last dimension you were in while um, advancing at the same speed as that dimension. He stayed in there for about 2 years, so mentally he's 17, where in that he was only training physically. So that's for the physical strength. Also, that place has like 4 times gravity compared to Earth, so Deku had a rough training there. It's not, yeah, basically, I did take that from Dragon Ball, but yeah, basically, he has a huge amount of training done, and his power is pretty good. And so, at his, well, about a month before UA starts, they told Deku that they wanted him to go back to his dimension to basically train there and find a way to basically make himself known. Also, yes, normally you need to um, go to school, then get give a well, go ask if you can try to get in that school. But basically, there's multiple heroes in the My Hero Academia world that actually use magic thanks to Dimension 1. And those heroes basically give the chance to people who that went to Dimension 1. They give the chance to become heroes by giving a recommendation letter, but saying that they still want them to do the normal test just to make sure they are able to enter. And basically, him and the other person that will replace Mineta will have that. And so Deku goes back to his world. I'm going to end it here. Um, hope you liked it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Leave a like if you want to. And I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description. So hope you liked it. Natsu out.